G'day guys, welcome back to the channel, hope you're doing well. So today I'm going to be previewing the upcoming Battlegrounds meta. So we just had the Mutant Mastery meta. I've been having so much fun using champions like Havoc and Onslaught and Storm Pyramid X, Bishop. But yeah, this next meta upcoming, so it's got Arms Race and it's also a few other nodes, but it's going to be a more universal meta. The last one benefited mostly mutants, but this one's going to be a bit more universal. So let's have a look at the nodes. So the main one here is, as I mentioned, Arms Race. So the attacker and the defender, this is important to note, get a passive fury during their special attacks based on the defender's power. And the main one to note here is when the defender has 2 bars of power, all specials, the next special is basically 200% attack. And that's quite a lot. So that's for the attacker and for the defender. If they throw a special 2, that will have 200% attack, plus 200%. Now, both the attacker and the defender, they'll both start with 1 bar of power, so you'll be able to get to, the defender will be able to get to 2 bars of power really quickly. And then also, when the defender does reach that second bar of power, they get prowess buffs every 2 seconds, which don't increase special damage by too much, but it's important to note that they are prowess buffs, so some champions will be able to benefit from that. So let's start with the attackers first. So last video I did like this, I sort of focused on different sort of categories of champions, but this time I just want to focus on each class and just list like the best champions from each class that I think. So we'll start with the science class now. I've noticed a few champions here that I think could do really well. So Captain Infinity War is the first one I'm going to mention here. So Captain Infinity War is a really solid champion, and the reason I think he could do well here is because, you know, you can. The trickiest part, one of the tricky things about this meta will be keeping the defender in that sweet spot between 2 bars of power and 3 bars of power. So champions that like getting specials out of the champion, like Spot with Infuriate or Hercules with Infuriate, or champions with a taunt like Spider-Ham, they won't do as well because they won't be able to get to that sweet spot. But champions like Captain Infinity War, they can block their Cap has a great block proficiency, so you'll be able to keep blocking and parrying. And if you can get a nice SP2 crit, nothing's going to really survive that, is it? And same with Hulk. You know, Hulk is very tanky, doesn't take too much block damage. And you know, you can stun lock with a special 1 once you're in Gamma Rage, so you can get a few special 1s in there. And the special 1s itself don't hit too hard, but they do benefit for sure from the attack increase. And then one that I have, I'll play some gameplay for this one, is Joe Fixit. So Joe Fixit gets heaps of attack and crit rating as well, which is even more important from his spades. So if you can stack up a bunch of spades, hit him with a big special 2, or even some special 1s for the bleed, you can melt these champions down with some good crit luck as well. One who could really do well is Morbius. So Morbius obviously has that guaranteed crit on his special 2. So with plus 200% attack rating could be really nice. But obviously the trickiest thing is getting them to that second bar of power, because normally you have to punish a special to get that further up so to get the massive further bonus anyway. But yeah, Morbius could do alright. And another one similar to Cap Infinity War's Red Guardian. So Red Guardian obviously has where is he? Where's my Red Guardian down here? Red Guardian, you know, lots of block proficiency. He's very tanky with his shield, and then you can get a massive special 2 off, and that also stuns. That's the most important thing. So you can follow up, even if that special 2 doesn't kill, you maybe chain into a special 1, and then that would finish him off. And then the last 2 I'll talk about is Silk. So I'll play some gameplay for Silk. So obviously she has a massive special 2, and then if you're not confident that will kill, you can get to a special 3. And you go even quicker with the power start 1, and then, you know, finish them off with that special 3 rotation into a special 1 or special 2, and by then they're definitely going to be dead from that. And then someone who I don't use very often is Titania. So Titania, her special 2 itself doesn't do massive attack, but similar to Silk, if you can get that special 3 rotation, you can definitely finish a lot of champions off for sure. All right, guys, onto the skill class actually. So this class has a huge potential to be a really strong offensive class this meta, because there's just a lot of champions that can that benefit a lot from starting at that 1 bar of power. So we'll start off with Black Cat. So Black Cat, obviously, to get to that special 2, starting at special 1 is so much better for her, because she can get her heist off that much quicker. And so all you need is a couple of card transfers, and you can get that huge crit bleed damage or the sabotage as well. So Black Cat could be a really fast nuke, even faster than normal this meta. And another one that is usually a defender is Bullseye. So I'll show you gameplay of Bullseye that I took against Arms Race in 8.1. He just cooks. So because of the guaranteed crits, you know, you got so much damage on that special 2. And then that obviously comes with a passive stun, so that works against anyone that's not stun immune. And then you can follow that up with a special one, and that's going to cook a lot of champions. And then I'll show you the next one, which is Kate. So Kate is an insane champion. Obviously, she works pretty much most metas, but she's going to be even more insane this meta. Because her special one, her cold snaps do benefit from that increased attack rating. So I tested against this. This is a bit skewed because in Act 8 you have the extra attack rating for 7 stars and 6 stars, but with the 2 bars of power that Juggernaut has, she's getting like 7k cold snaps. That's insane. 7k per tick. That's ridiculous. So even though she's not a massive like special dealing champion, the cold snaps attached to it that they're gonna melt so many champions. Then 2 champions that are sort of similar in a way are Mantis and Shang-Chi. So obviously they're similar in a way because they have guaranteed crits on their special 2s. So I'll show you this Shang-Chi fight's only a 7-star rank 1, and it was able to do so much damage. So yeah, those 2 could, especially Mantis as well. Like you probably don't even need like 10 Furies to kill a lot of champions. As long as you get to their special 2, you'll be fine. And then one that I'm not super sure how he's going to go is Massacre. So the thing with Massacre is that his special 2, you can see. So for example, my rank 4 6-star has 5700 attack rating, and then the special 2 is plus 46,000 attack rating if blocked. Now that's a lot. So that's about if I had to guess, about 800% attack rating. That plus 800%. Now the node arms race, that only adds plus 200%. So it's basically like if your damage is normally here, the special 2 puts it to here, but then the node only puts it up a little bit more. So you're actually not going to get too much better damage from Massacre on a special 2. It will be better for sure, but it won't be as much of a difference as other champions. So that's just one thing to keep in mind with Massacre, because the special 2 has such a high attack rating anyway. The extra attack rating from the node is not going to make that much difference. And that's the same with some other champions. So if you're unsure, just make sure you just double check your champion's attack there, because it is a plus attack rating. It's not like multiplying by 200%. It's plus extra 200%. And then the last few I'll mention are the bleed champions. There's bleed champions, Nick Fury and Mole Man. They'll be able to get so much damage on their special 2s. Obviously, Nick Fury's can have a stun attached to it, and if that special 2 doesn't kill, you've got that second life as backup. So if you're good at timing Nick's second life with the opponent dying, you can definitely finish some fights on full health. So yeah, that's a skill class. All right, onto the mutant class. So we just had a meta dominated by mutants, and there's definitely going to be a lot of mutants that will dominate this meta again. So this will be less the debuff focused champions like Havoc and Weapon X and Toad and Dust. Did I say Dust? No. But it'll be more the huge prowess champions like Bishop and Storm. I'm not too sure about Onslaught, but yeah. So Bishop is going to be ridiculous because all those prowesses plus 200% Fury. Look, this special 2 here, it's just insane. From obviously my Bishop's rank 3, and then the same with Storm Pyramid X. I'll show you the Storm Pyramid X fight I did. This is only with 4 prowess, and she was able to do a ridiculous amount of damage on a special 2, because it just it's so much extra attack from that. Because you can see her prowesses are, we look at her abilities, her prowess, so her prowess increased by special damage by 40%. So that was 4 prowesses, that's 160%, and then the Fury's plus 200%. So you're basically getting 5 prowesses. That Fury is equivalent to 5 prowesses essentially. So 5 Storm Pyramid X prowesses, that's pretty good. So yeah, really nice for Storm. And then another one is obviously Domino. So Domino, with especially if they have Mr. Sinister Relic, you can get that if you can get that relic off and get that bleed on you. And then a special 2 has plus where is it? Yeah, if Domino's lucky, has extra attack rating. If Domino suffered from a bleed, so you get extra attack rating plus the Fury. If you get a few lucky crits and you're lucky, obviously it is RNG focused with Domino, but she can definitely probably one-shot a few champions with her special 2. With good RNG. And then another one I'll talk about is Onslaught. So Onslaught, I did try Onslaught I'm not sure how he's going to go because if you go straight just for a special 2, you won't be able to get that many neuros on. So you might have to go for a special 1 first, and that kind of slows him down a bit. So I'm not sure how Onslaught will go, but I'll have to test him out in the meta for sure. And then the last one is Sunspot, of course. So Sunspot has amazing damage on his special 2, and just similar to Domino, if you get a few lucky crits, same with Domino and Storm. If you get a few nice crits, a lot of things are going to melt really, really quickly. All right, guys, onto the Cosmic class. There's quite a few champions actually. This is probably the biggest one of all that or most champions I've noted down. So the first one I've mentioned is Adam. So Adam gets so much damage from his sovereignty, right? So you get the true damage, and then the precision, and then the fury. So the fury increases his damage, his attack rating by about 120%. So getting that fury buff plus the 200% fury from the relic, from the node, sorry, really nice. But so if you can time that special 2 with the 30 hits, and then have a relic as well, that's going to do a ridiculous amount of damage. So yeah, Adam's going to be really, really interesting. I really want to see how Adam goes. He could be really, really, really fast. And then another one who could be really fast as well, because I have him at rank 3. Obviously, not many people have him at rank 3, is Corvus. So I did do a bit of testing with Corvus. You'll see this is not against Juggernaut, this is against Hela the next fight, because they didn't want to show him off with class disadvantage, because that hurts him more than most champions. And obviously this also has inflated attack rating from the Act 8 node, so it probably won't be as hard as this, but with the Power Star 1, you'll be able to get off 2 special 2s with Corvus relatively easily. And the really nice thing about Corvus is that his special 2 does power drain the opponent if they are at 3 bars of power, so you have that safety net as well if the special 2 doesn't kill. The next one I'll talk about is, obviously, you got the mainstays. You got Cosmic Ghost Rider. I'm not a great Cosmic Ghost Rider player, so I'm not going to show you gameplay of that. But also Hercules, Hulkling, they have massive special 2s. If you can time their rotations right, get off a massive special 2 when the opponent has 2 bars of power, you're going to be hitting super hard. And similarly, Nova could do really nice things with it, because he gets his own Fury buffs plus the node Fury buff. He's definitely will go from these champions. They're going to go from nukes to super nukes basically. And then you got the symbiotes as well. So you got Venom and Venom the Duck. I'll show you Venom the Duck because mine's rank 3. It's not the best damage in the world, but you can get lucky on crits. Who knows? And Venom obviously can get massive special 2 damage with his Furies plus the node Fury. So yeah, definitely this is probably the class I'm going to have to test the most though in the node, is the Cosmic class. All right, guys, onto the Tech class. Now this is a class that's going to be very interesting, because I think these guys, there's a few champions that could be really, really powerful, and that's because Tech champions, a lot of these champions have the ability to power drain, and so I talked before about the sweet spot between 2 and 3 bars of power. So a lot of these science champions with good power control and controllable power control are the ones that can keep the opponent between 2 and 3 bars of power, can be working really well here. So future Ant-Man's one I'll talk about. It's gonna be a bit tricky to get his surging swarm up, because when they start with the bar of power, it's gonna be tricky to get intercepts in. But he could definitely do really well, and hit them with a big special 2. Probably don't even need a disintegration. You do tons of damage with that increased attack rating. And then another one I'll talk about is Guardian. So Guardian, similar to the other tanks like Red Guardian and Cap Infinity War that I talked about, he's got great block proficiency, so you can get special 1 off, easy special 2, huge damage, and then he also has that if you end with a light combo, you can power drain them. So if they get stuck at 3 bars of power, it's easily finish with the light and keep them in that sweet spot between 2 and 3 bars of power. So Guardian could be really nice. Hulkbuster is another one. So Hulkbuster, because I think the Fury does apply from where you start the special at. So if you start the special when they're at 2 bars of power, and then you power drain them down to 0, you get a really nice special 2 in. Especially if you have some shocks up from parry heavying. Another one that could be really interesting, one that I haven't ranked up in a while, is actually Infamous Iron Man, or Idoom, because he can very easily control the opponent's power, and if you can get into a sort of special 2 and then special 1 rotation, or more so special 1, and keep them locked at that 2nd bar of power, or just under 3 bars of power, and can do really nice damage. But obviously special 2 is probably the way to go though. Nimrod's also a nice shout because you can, when the opponent throws their special, they can get power drained, and you can, if you keep hitting them when they have the power drain, you can keep them in that sweet spot between 2 and 3 bars of power when you're throwing your special 2, so that could be really nice. And then another one is Red Skull. So Red Skull's gonna be sort of AI dependent, I think, because you can definitely control their power very easily by just blocking, but you still want to give them power as well, so they can get to 2 bars of power when you and that sweet spot. But you can definitely get out of the danger area, and if they get close to special 3 by just blocking, and then hit them with a fat special 2, get heaps of shocks on, and then finish off with a special 1. Could be really, really fast champion, Red Skull. So that's a little bit of the tech class there. All right, finally I'll talk about the Mystics. So obviously Mystics, they do have, a lot of these do have power control as well. Not a bit different to Tex, but you got Doctor Doom. He can definitely get some really nice power control from his special 1. That's more so keeping them under 2 bars of power, not between 2 and 3 bars of power. And Doom, you probably want to go just straight for special 2 spam instead of this full Doom cycle, but it could be really interesting. And then another one is Chavez. So obviously she has a massive special 2 potential, and because the opponent does get prowess buffs, she can benefit from that, because each one of those does increase her attack rating. But she sort of suffers a bit from the massacre problem in that she gets so much attack. You see, yeah. So the dimensional energy infusion, you get basically extra attack rating for each buff and each unique dimension. Now, but the thing is, this only stacks up to 6, so that basically can give you up to about 150% attack rating, and then the node will give you an extra 200%. So it's basically about, if I'd say roughly, if it was roughly like 18 stacks of infusion, roughly, is what it would be like. Maybe not that much, actually. No, it'd be more like 14, I think, actually. But still a lot. So it could be really, really interesting to see how Chavez does the special 2, especially if it crits. And then another one, of course, is Juggernaut. Juggernaut is just going to do Juggernaut things. His special 2 is so much attack from his Unstoppables, and then the Fury when he's at maximum momentum. So yeah, he's just going to do normal Jugs things. And then other ones that have really nice, special 2 burst damage. You've got Longshot. So Longshot's massive incinerate damage on his special 2. So plus 200% attack rating on that, and you can get insane incinerate damage when you're in Pure of Heart. And then another one is Tigra. So Tigra can she'll suffer a bit from block damage, but block baiting heavies. But if you can get a special 2 is just gonna pretty much one shot everything. You only need 2, maybe probably only 2 heavies you need to get off. Gets like 6 ruptures, and that's gonna cook most things really. So Tigra is gonna be a really fun champion to use this meta. And then another one that I'm not really sure about is Werewolf by Night, because I'm not actually sure if because the Power Start 1 could actually hurt Werewolf by Night more than it helps him, because where is he? Werewolf. I don't really use Werewolf that much, but I know a lot of people have him as a 7-star rank 3. Where did he go? I might have. There he is. Yeah. So basically, he gets his lycanthropy charges when he passes a bar of power. When he got ruptures on, and so yeah, gain lycanthropy charge when attempting to trigger a chilling howl or crossing a bar of power. So by starting with a bar of power, you're not actually crossing a bar of power. So I don't think he's actually going to start with any lycanthropy charges. So it might make him a bit trickier to use than normal, but he still could definitely do alright. Special 2 hits insanely hard when he's in lycanthropy. So that with plus 200% attack rating is going to be ridiculous. Alright guys, so before I switch over to talk about the defenders, I'll quickly cover a few attackers that maybe won't do as well as normal. So the first one I'll talk about is Archangel. Because he's mostly a damage over time champion, it's not like he's not going to work, it's just not going to be nuky like the other champions I mentioned. And it's the same with other damage over time focused champions. You got Human Torch, it's all incinerate damage. It's not going to be affected much by the nodes. And then also, you've got some tech champions like Shuri, and then also, where is she? Ironheart. So those are mostly damage over time based champions. So they're not going to do as well. I'm not saying they're not going to work. They're just not going to be as powerful as the other attackers I mentioned. And also similarly, Omega Red, he's all damage over time, so he's not going to be benefiting from anything really here. Starting a special 1 doesn't really affect him too much. He can get to that. He can get to the death field quicker for sure, so he's not going to be hurt by that. But yeah, he doesn't really benefit from the special increase too much. And then the other one is Spot. So Spot, because he can definitely do alright. You know, if you get a special 2 off with plus 200% attack rating, it's going to be a lot of damage. But because he does start at 1 bar of power, it's going to be tricky to get a lot of ruptures in, and that's the main source of your special 2 damage. And also, he has an Infuriate involved with his Intouchable, which makes it more likely for the opponent to throw a special. That doesn't mean they're guaranteed to, but it means that you are a bit reliant on the AI to not throw a special before you get to your special 2. So that's a bit of a setback for Spot there. And another one that I'll touch on is Odin, because Odin's a really nice nuke in general, but not so much this meta, and that's because on his special 2 he does actually have a damage cap. You can see the last hit deals a burst of direct damage, but it's only 2.75% of the opponent's max health, and it has a damage cap as well. So Odin is not going to go as well as he normally would, and definitely not as well as other cosmics like, you know, Hulkling and Hercules and Corvus. He's just going to be capped by that damage. So yeah, definitely make sure to double check your champion's stats if they have any sort of damage cap, or if it says like this damage only scales with base attack, that means it's not going to benefit from the 200% fury from Arms Race. Alright guys, now let's talk about the defenders, what everyone loves to know about. Who should I place to annoy my opponents? So there's going to be 4 categories I'm going to cover in this part of the video. So the first category is going to be champions that have annoying special 1s. And that's because when the defender starts with the bar of power, same as you, and so there's obviously a chance that the defender just throws that special 1 straight away, even like when you're trying to parry. So there's obviously a lot of champions that have annoying special 1s. You know, you got Dr. Doom that activates his aura straight away, and you know, you can get some shock debuffs on you, or you can steal your power if you get hit. So definitely not a special you want to have to deal with straight away. Nick Fury, special 1 I included in here just because, you know, it gives him more tactical charges, and it's also a very long special. It's very hard to dex as well, so that's one that I've put in here. Hulkling's a good defender in general, but you know that special 1 gives him extra shapeshift charges, so it means he's going to go indestructible more often. You don't want him to go indestructible when you're throwing a big special too, and you know he's just going indestructible for all of that. So he'd put him in this category. I'm tempted to put Mr. Fantastic into my deck, and that's because, you know, his special 1 does place that that taunt on you, and also the stagger. And it's not a massive taunt, but it is an extra debuff. So with inequity, that does reduce your damage even more. And then also the reason that Reed could do really well is because when the opponent throws a special attack, he automatically places a debuff on them that reduces that attack rating by 25%. Now that's not huge when you talk about arms race, because that's when he has 2 bars of power, that's plus 200%. So if you're only reducing that by 25%, that's only going down to 175%. So it's still going to hit pretty hard, but still with all the debuffs that he has and equity, it does make him a bit of a tricky defender to nuke, really. And then another one that you don't want to throw a special 1 is definitely Bishop. Unless you have an Incinerate immune champion, Bishop's going to be a very annoying champion to deal with if he does throw that special 1 straight away. Will definitely prolong the fight. Similarly with Onslaught, that's going to prolong the fight as well. Very long special 1, and if you block some of that, you get Neuras on you. Definitely not a fun time. Over the tech class, you got Future Ant-Man. You know, if you block that special 1, you get Disintegration. And it's going to be very tricky to get to a special 2 against Future Ant-Man unless you have someone like Hulkling who's immune to Power Drain. So and then also Future Ant-Man, so he has a damage cap associated with him. So if you look in his SIG ability, when Ant-Man would lose more than 10% of his max health from a single source, reduce the damage to 10% of his max health, and gain a self-repair buff healing 5% of max health over 12 seconds. So basically, whenever you hit a massive special 2, each hit's only going to end up doing 5% of his attack, 5% of his health, unless you have some way to get rid of the regen. So definitely going to be a very tough defender there, Future Ant-Man, as he always is, but even more than normal. Another one is Bullseye. So I'm not sure if Bullseye will start with the Killer Instinct, or if he only gets it when he actually crosses a bar of power. I'm more inclined to believe that he will actually start with it, because because it's just Bullseye. He just will probably start with it. But yeah, Bullseye could be. He's always obviously going to be a good defender, but even more so with starting with that special one. Another one you definitely don't want to throw a special one is Havoc, unless you got someone with an armor up, like Iron Man or someone like that. But if you don't, then he's going to be just getting that plasma even quicker. And sometimes, like I said, there might be no way to control that. If you just throw the special one straight away, it can be very annoying. And then Red Skull as well. So Red Skull obviously has that auto block associated with his special one. He's always a tank in general, but if the more special ones he throws, the longer he's going to get to take it down. And someone who could be a really nasty defender that maybe not a lot of people are thinking of is Absorbing Man, because if you throw that special one straight away, he's going to go Refine straight away. And unless you're ready with a heavy attack to get rid of it, he's not gonna be friendly to you at all. And then the last one is Domino. So I think Domino, I'm not sure if she'll be able to start the fight lucky or not. If you know, I'm not a huge knowledge bomb on Domino, so I'm not sure if she will get the chance to get lucky at the start, and vice versa if the opponent will be able to start unlucky or not. But definitely one that to test maybe. But that's sort of like the first category. So champions that, if you think champions that could, because these defenders will probably be able to throw a special one straight away, there's a lot of champions that have very annoying special ones to deal with. So the next category I'll talk about is just stalling defenders. These defenders are pretty much good most metas, but because of the big nuke aspect of the special twos or special threes, champions that have damage caps associated with them, or some sort of way to reduce attack rating or something like that is really going to be really valuable. And also all like immortality at the end, like Hercules. But we got Future Ant-Man, I've already talked about, has that damage cap associated. An interesting one would be Man-Thing. So I talked about Man-Thing, I think, as a defender in the last video. So Man-Thing, obviously he can't get extra damage from critical hits. So a lot of champions that have big special twos with big crit bursts, they won't do as much to Man-Thing. So yeah, definitely one worth considering. So I've got him at rank 5. He might make the deck, I'm not sure yet. Obviously Sasquatch is always a good defender, but yeah, all those rage stacks, they do increase his protection by 5% per stack. So he's always going to be a good defender, and also has very high health as well. But on the other side, on the other hand, he can still be nuked by a lot of champions like Silk and stuff with extra attack rating. Thing obviously is always going to be good because he automatically triggers protection whenever the opponent does 300% of their attack, and because you're getting, if you just go from your base attack, add 200% with Arms Race, that automatically hits that 300% threshold. So basically, if he has a special 2 and you throw a special 2, that's just going to trigger protection straight away, no matter what. So yeah, Thing is going to be a great defender unless you have someone like Black Cat or Crossbones who can shut off his ability accuracy. And then another one who doesn't have much health but could be a really nice defender is Spider Ham. Where is he? Yeah, Spider Ham obviously has that taunt aspect on his special one, but also the one to note is that he has for each Spider Nonsense, he reduces damage from special attacks by 5%. Is it? Yeah, passively reduces damage taken during the opponent's special attacks by 5%. So similar with Mr. Fantastic, it's not going to be as much of a difference with Arms Race, but can still because you want the opponent, because you want, as an attack, you want to get to 2 bars of power, it means he's going to be gaining nonsense quicker than normal. So unless you have someone who can excel at special ones like Kate Bishop, he's going to be definitely an annoying defender for sure, and longer to take down than most defenders. And then Kindred as well, Kindred, and that goes for Kindred has that root at the end if he's awakened that no champion can bypass. So similarly, Mephisto, no one can bypass Mephisto's. Where's Mephisto? No one can bypass Mephisto's. Regen when he gets to 30%. So that's just, you got that nuke protection. They can't just be, taken down by a single special 2. They can still probably die fast, but not as fast as some other champions for sure. Alright guys, so the third category of defenders I'm going to talk about is ones that have a really bad or even lethal special 2. Because remember that Arms Race gives you 200% extra attack rating when the defender has 2 bars of power, but it also gives the defender 200% attack rating when they have 2 bars of power. on their special attacks, and also they get prowess buffs every 2 seconds that each increase their special damage by 25%. So champions that have very lethal special twos, ones that are hard to avoid or very punishing, are ones that could definitely be worth considering as defenders. So one that automatically pops to mind for me is Storm Pyramid X. If you push it to a special two, it's very I don't know if it's dexable at all, unless you're using like Nightcrawler or Quicksilver. So a special two to the face with all those prowess buffs plus 200% attack rating could be very, very nasty. And obviously she's got no glancing as well, which not on special attacks, but you know it can be definitely a potential really nice defender there. Another one is Photon. So Photon, obviously, especially when she's in pure light form, has insane damage on her special two, and so if you block it, it's fine, but with all that extra attack rating and the prowess can be extra really, really nasty block damage. Another one that I sort of debated putting in here is Red Skull. I already talked about Red Skull as an annoying special one defender, but he also has a very lethal special two if you get hit by it, and also has a very long unstoppable associated with it, so that does make him a bit of a stalling defender as well. Red Skull's just a good defender in general. So yeah, always going to be a tank to get down. So yeah, always going to be a good defender. Another one I debated putting in here, but Zemo. Zemo is very easy to just bait special ones, and then just push him into a special two to finish him off. But that special two is very hard to fully dex, and especially if you get caught by the end of it, has a very long passive stun associated with it. So definitely a dangerous one there. And in the same class, you got Kingpin. He's got a very long. Same with Red Skull. He's got a very long unstoppable associated with his special two, and it can potentially be unblockable if he's in overpower. So definitely a very dangerous one. One you don't want to miss the dex on. Same with Bishop. Same with Doctor Doom. There's other ones there that have very bad special twos. Should you miss the dex, I mean, they're going to do a lot of damage anyway. But with all that extra damage, it's going to be basically just from 100% to 0 straight away. One that probably not people are running anymore is Mangog. So Mangog obviously is a very hard special two to dex unless you're using Silk. So yeah, it could be an interesting one. Again, not because of the domination of the science class, you don't really see Mangog that often. But it could be an interesting one because yeah, it was definitely intended as a defender in the first place. Another one is Shocker. So Shocker is a very tricky special two to dex, especially if you miss that last hit, you get a very long passive stun. I wasn't sure if I should put him in here, but obviously he has that special one. If you can keep throwing the special ones and get, especially the first one, doesn't consume power if he's at max sig, and obviously he has that reduced stun duration as well. So could be a alright defender as well. I don't see him being too much of a great attacker, but I might be wrong. But just because most of the damage is associated with his heavy attack, he can still definitely cook though. And the last one I'll cover is Chavez. So Chavez, while also being a good attacker, she's gonna be a great defender because with Mystic Dispersion, she can very easily get to special two if you don't have the right champion. So special two, especially if it's unblockable, is just like I said with other champions before, just 100 to 0 straight away. It's just gonna be lights out no matter who you're using. Unless you're using someone, I don't know, using Thing for something you activate your protection. But yeah, it's just not gonna be a good time for some champions. Alright, and the last category I'm gonna cover is gonna be guaranteed damage. So I don't always include this category, but because this is a nuke-based meta, right, there's gonna be a lot of quick fights. You want champions that have some sort of guaranteed damage back at you. So automatically, the face of that is Electro. He has guaranteed thorns. Unless you're using someone who is using non-contact attacks, he's going to be doing a lot of damage back to you, even though he doesn't have much health. It's just guaranteed damage back. Same with Atuma, same story unless using non-contact. He's going to be a very, very annoying guy to take down, and I almost put him in the bad special 2 category because that special 2, if it does land, going to be very, very bad, very, very bad news. But yeah, it can be it's just guaranteed damage back. That's what you want. Korg, Max Sig, he has that rock shield that does heaps of damage back to you. And he's just a tanky defender in general. He's got lots of crit resistance as well. Same with Killmonger, who's also in this class. He's got the thorns when he's awakened, the reverb, and same with Korg. He's got lots of crit resistance in general. So going to take a lot of, not going to be many champions that can nuke him as super well. Onslaught, of course, has his Neuros attached gems. That's just guaranteed damage whenever, really. No matter, unless you're using someone with ridiculously high energy resistance. Even if you do shrug some, it's just guaranteed damage anyway. So always going to be a good defender Onslaught, of course. And then I already talked about him, but Bullseye, the special one is just guaranteed block damage. Unless using someone like Sunspot, it's just going to be guaranteed damage, and it's not much to do about it. So Bullseye, of course, always great defender. Another one that's going to be interesting is Terrax. Obviously, Terrax, when he's awakened, he does start with extra power. So where is my 6-star Terrax? Yeah. So, like, for example, Sigma 100 Terrax, he would start with 46% of his max power. So with this extra bar of power, that's like 80% of his max power. And so I'm not even sure what's going to be a max Sig, but probably like you start with 3 bars of power, and there's just three bars of just pure rock field. So you just be getting armor broken and taking energy damage. Unless you have someone with super high energy resistance, that's just guaranteed damage right there. Unless you're cheesing it with Abyssmane or something. And then if you're in a situation where you're using 5-stars in your deck, maybe you might consider Magic. Magic is a very annoying, or not so much anymore because she's not a 6-star or a 7-star. But back in the day, she was a very annoying defender because of her Sig ability, her Limbo. And so you've got champions. Not many champions can avoid this Limbo. You've got Omega Red. You've got, I guess, Strife and other champions that can reduce ability accuracy, or something like Black Widow or Archangel, or Blade. But there's not many champions that can fully ignore her Limbo damage. That's just guaranteed chip damage. If you have a high Sig Magic, definitely worth considering putting in your deck. But that's going to cover that for defenders. So it's just four different categories that definitely worth considering there as defenders. Alright guys, so before I end the video, I'm just going to quickly go over my mastery setups. This is going to be a thing I want to do pretty much every preview video. So just to give you a rough idea of what I'm going to be running. They're going to be mostly pretty similar because I don't normally change my masteries for Battlegrounds too much, and you don't normally need to. But I just want to give a little bit of a point as to what mastery is going to do really well and why. So the one I definitely want to focus on first is Deep Wounds, because I talked a lot about skill champions like Black Cat, Nick Fury, Mole Man. A lot of these champions that have insane bleed damage, especially associated with their special attacks, they're going to do even better with Deep Wounds, because you got the Deep Wounds lasting 2.5 seconds longer with the plus 200% attack rating. It's going to be really, really nice damage. So definitely run Deep Wounds if you're thinking of running a lot of skilled champions like I am. Another one here is Inequity. So Inequity can really help your defenders. I talked about Mr. Fantastic before because he has debuffs associated with him a lot, especially if you throw the special one straight away, that's 2 debuffs on you. That reduces your attack by 12% for having 2 debuffs. And then when you throw a special against him, that's another debuff. And if you're fighting champions like Havoc or Photon or Null or even Terrax, I talked about Terrax with his armor breaks. Each one of those debuffs, if you have max Inequity, they reduce your attack by 6%. It's only a max of 36%. And so the Fury does bypass most of that, but it still can make a difference. And in a nuke meta, you want to save as much time. You want to delay your opponent as much as you can. So definitely worth running most metas in Inequity is. Another one I'll talk about is Mystic Dispersion. This is the last one I'll cover. Again, you got Mystic Defenders like Doom, Chavez. I've talked about Mephisto, Kindred. You want those defenders to get to a special 3 if they can, to get your opponent trapped for sure. And on the flip side, you got your Mystic attackers like Chavez I talked about, and also Doom can benefit from Mystic Dispersion, and Juggernaut, if he nullifies buffs, gets that special 2 even quicker. So definitely worth running pretty much every meta if you've got Mystic Dispersion unlocked for sure. That's going to be a quick rundown of the masteries. You can see what I'm running right here. It's pretty standard, really. I don't really run Glass Cannon normally because even though it does increase your attack, it does reduce your health, and that includes your defender's health as well. And 2.4% of the defender's health is a lot more than your attacker's health because of the health multiplier. So that's why I don't normally run Glass Cannon. But yeah, that's just a quick rundown of the masteries I'm running. And another one, I'll talk about one more is Despair, because I talked about those champions that have debuffs associated with them. you don't want the champions fighting your defenders to be able to heal freely. So you'll definitely want to reduce their regen as low as you can. And then on the flip side, if you're using champions, uh, that have lots of debuffs associated with them, like I talked about Nick Fury has lots of bleeds. You definitely want to reduce the opponent's willpower healing as much as you can from those debuffs. And then also champions like, I don't know, science champions like Silk and Hulk, they have lots of debuffs associated as well, which normally is free willpower healing, but Deep Despair can pretty much negate all of that if you have enough debuffs on them. But yeah, that's going to do it from the Masteries, and that's going to do it for the video, guys. So if you have any questions about the upcoming meta, be sure to leave them in the comments. If you need help building a deck, definitely trying to hit me up. I'll definitely be happy to help wherever I can. But yeah, that's going to be a little bit of a preview for the upcoming Battleground season. Good luck if you're considering pushing as high as you can. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace out, guys.